back, ladies and gentlemen. Got the front carburetor built. Now we're going to be tackling the rear carburetor. We're going to do less of the teaches as we go, stumble through it, and more of I'm just going to put her together, and if you guys got questions, well, away you go. Difference with the rear carb and the front is mostly that the main jet's a 135 and not a 140. Otherwise, all the parts are identical. We're going to do the put together a little differently on this one in different order, but whatever, you get the idea. So, to make room for the air cutoff valve, this throttle bracket needs to just be a little loose and out of the way. We're going to reach in here, get our air cutoff valve that's nicely lubed, and in fact, I don't think it needs any lithium grease at all. I think it just needs to go in its home. Get in your home. You want that seated nice. See, these ones have the little O-ring and the tang there built in, some of them don't. And reach in here and find this spring. Goes there and basically pushes that puppy home. And then we're going to find the little door. It lines up as such, and 3 small screws. So you want to do this once. Just get that there. Start the screw. Keep the good amount of pressure on the center of that to keep it from popping up. You'll notice I changed my glove in between takes, but hey, I don't want dirty hands any more than anybody else. Two for the show, 3 to get ready. Alright, now that can go back to its normal place. These screws you can tighten with this ACR type bit, but normally you'd need a bigger Phillips for those. Okay, now I'm going straight to this tube, and we're going to look for the ball bearings. We want this to go this way, and this way, this way, and we'll do this at the ready. So, bring that tube up through there, get her lined up. Snag our O-ring, put them on there. Again, this wouldn't probably be the natural way to do this, but it's because I'm reusing all this shit. Wondering if that wouldn't press on more squarely. I'll just try to, oh yeah, that takes her home real nice actually. Need her last few millimeters or so, and I don't want to get all rammy with it because it's pretty delicate a little bit, and it's going to leak if I get crazy with it. Alright, 80, 145, 135. Here we got the jets that we were just talking about in the first video. We're going here nice when you use the right tool. Okay, yeah. Flats to the center. flats to the center. It's looking good. I can go on there, find the screws with the long and the short one here, long one here. Oh, and before I drop that all the way down, I'm gonna put this in here. So that's like that. Just loose because I don't want that tube to fall down, but I do want this tight first. So that's the way you save those O-rings and those gaskets and all that stuff. And if she leaks, well, I guess I'll have to eat my words. But most of the time this stuff just works. Alright, the 135 goes in here, this being the main jet. See, you want to be square on that. 145 goes in the top. That's where the 145 goes, and then the 80 right here in the front. Okay, jets are all in, all that stuff's done. Let's focus on the top. On top we had the little O-ring here. And then we have the actual cup. Find the divot, line her out. Get all that in there nice. It's looking pretty good. Get this screw. Cap. Now this Carb special, because it gets this part and it lines up in here, so you see where the throttle cable goes, basically lines up there. You use the long screws here. Just start that guy. This is where you wish you had 3 hands. Or a son, sometimes you can help hold stuff. In this case, the son's holding the camera. So, take these guys home. No different than the rest. That's it. If you get any resistance at all turning these screws, you just stop right away. There's something wrong. These should just go in like so easy and just straightforward. Just twist them in nice. If you did that right, this will move. Oh, it moves very nice. I'm just gonna give it a little extra lube because I find that it really helps it. Just Just that nice little squirt in there. Look at that. And if you want to get really crazy, you can apply suction to there and you'll pull it up. But we're not going to get that crazy. Alright, what do we got left to put together on this? Well, got this choke plunger enriching circuit, whatever they want to call it, from back in Japan. And that little spring, this screw goes in this hole. It's just sticking there a little bit. I think I can live with that. It's still going home like it's supposed to, so can live with that. Alright, we got a few parts left. We have our seat. I'm sorry, not our seat, our needle valve thingamabobber, should call it, and we're gonna put that in there. And we have our float. Here she is. We're gonna do our blow test. Oh, let me block that. Beautiful. Gotta love that flavor. Okay, now your bowl is gonna go on. Can only go on one way. Make sure your gasket's clean. And just kind of finagle it, give it that wiggle that it needs. Boom, she's on. Find those screws that are important. Say, man, I love rebuilding carburetors. Who needs fuel injection? That's ridiculous. Okay, so there we go. She's looking kind of shiny. She's got a little bit too much overspray, and you know, after you do all the work of cleaning and rebuilding a carburetor, there's no point in putting it back on a bike all greasy like that, because it's just gonna pick up dirt like you wouldn't believe. In fact, I may hit these with a bit of brake clean before I reinstall them. But for now, we'll just get the majority of it off. I mean, it's done a beautiful job of keeping any corrosion away. Makes them look nice. But any oil that's on the surface like that is totally unnecessary. It's not gonna do anything to help the thing really long term. You can spray a little bit of lube in here and in there. I mean, I didn't take it apart to the point where we took the butterfly out, and I think when you get to that point, you're really beyond. But I'd say that's a real stripped and clean carburetor, and she's ready to go back into service. So, how do we remarry these two girls and get everything working? Well, first you got to figure out how they line up. And then we're going to figure out how the brackets all go together. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I took them apart this way, so I'm going to take them as a unit, flip them over, but that's kind of all out of whack for square. So, in this case, we're going to do it this way. Then we've got this part here. These shorty M5s. And the reason why I'm putting this one on first is it's easier to square off of the table with the square part of the carbs, and that'll make sure that everything kind of lines up for starters. But I'm not gonna crank this thing down as hard as possible. I'm just gonna snug it. And let's see why in a sec. It's like anything in a car or whatever you take apart, because there's still a little bit of lateral movement like this, and so if we cinch that down, they might be kind of off. And so what we'll want to do is go back now here, and with that reinforcement now it kind of sits more or less square. And we're going to look at the back side. Now again, referring to my trusty template, I can see, well, that's what happens when the battery in the camera dies. So we didn't move any forward, I just kind of moved things around. Here's what we've got left for parts. We've got a bracket, a piece of bolt, the enriching lever, some levers, and an E-clip. It's pretty important. I also got this piece of rubber tube, and you can just jam this in there later, but really the best time to do it is right now. So we got that bracket on, things are still nice and loose, and it goes right here. And how we're going to put it on is to jam it on this way. And ease it on that way. The reason for that is just to put as little strain on that as we can. I mean, it is getting old, and I don't remember exactly what way it points, but we'll call it that for now. So that's all done and out of the way. Next step is this bracket and this piece. Notice there's a short end and a long end. The long end goes towards the middle. This basically sits on here, and that sits on there. We've got, of the large metric bolts left, 2 long, 2 short. Put the longs in the long spot. Basically, line all that up. Go on. And these you definitely want to kind of start them all, but not seat any of them, because nothing will line up. You know, it's all, everything's got a little bit of play to it. It's got some wiggle room, and this is why after we're done we'll have to do some carb balancing and a little bit of setup, but that's no big deal. So what I want to do is get this started. Yeah, see, that's going in there nice and easy now. Now you see that screw? That screw's at its life limit. I would not put that back on any bike. It happens to be that this bike is my own, and I'm kind of stuck with it. It's Easter weekend, and nothing's open, so there's no way I'm going to be able to replace that screw. But I know it's there, and I'll have to deal with it next time. So how I'm going to deal with it now is I'm not going to torque it like a madman. I'm just going to torque it gently. Figure these other screws are big enough. Now notice as I'm bringing that, everything's just kind of coming together. You want to make sure that it's feeling good and tighten them just a bit. Not too crazy, just enough to get a little bit of tightening on it, because we're now going to go back here, and I'm in fact going to just take these out just a hair to let any tension that might be in there out. You know, it feels good. Now I can take these home. And these are pretty big, so you do want them pretty tight. Now back here, there's some people saying crazy, you know, why you go over them fasteners so many times and take your time doing it? Well, it's because these things are old and you can't buy parts for them like you think you can, and you need to be gentle on them. So if it takes a bit longer, it's worth it. Now this one, that's all she's getting. Because if I ever got to take that with an easy out or something, then I want it to be as easy as I can, you know. In fact, I should probably look to these carbs for it don't. Oh, you know what? There we go. No, we need a donor screw for sure, you know, because it's just too ugly. I can't have that. Look at that. Already I'm screwing myself by trying to use that screw. So, screwing myself. We were going to have a video about just putting them together. We'll have a tiny segment right now about taking them apart. These screws are old, and as mentioned before, they're not really Phillips, but if you have the right equipment, like an impact driver, then they come out like that. See how easy that was? Didn't have to ruin it. Didn't have to damage it. Just had the right size bit and an impact driver. Go buy one if you want to work on a carburetor. You're going to need it. If you want to work on a bike, you're going to need it. Alright, so thankfully, thanks to our donor set, we got a nice screw that we can use, and I can put that on there as a later, deal with at a later date. Okay, so everything's done. We have a couple parts left. This here is the screw that sits in between the two throttle plates, synchronizing them up. And I think the easiest way to get that in there is to set it on your nice little jet screwdriver. Have that line it up on the pole. Just hold it with your finger and then pry it. Oh, it's so hard to see, I bet, with the camera. That's not gonna work. Alright, take two.